How we doing, people? This is the We Ball Podcast. I'm Luke Krumich. Joining me is Tyler DeSena. We're back. We might be a little bit later on this one, but it's going to be a different type of episode, so it's okay. We're not going to be reviewing last week's games. We're going to be doing a little bit of non-football stuff, non-sports stuff, actually. So, Tyler, how are we doing on this fine day?
I mean, from a sports perspective, not great. As a Dolphins fan, it just continues to get worse and worse. There is no light at the end of the tunnel, apparently. But, from a normal life perspective, I'm doing pretty well. Excited to get this episode in. Like you said, a different style of episode, a little bit more fun, less, having to be analysis based. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's great. Sports are great for me right now. Like, I'm living my life. My Yankees are in the playoffs. My Giants are 4-1, and my Cavs start playing next week. So I'm having a great week. The Rangers already started and got a nice little dub, dude. I'm having an amazing week. This is great. I'm so happy. Sports love me again. But yeah, that's basically it for me for sports. But we're gonna get right into it. We're gonna talk about our games of the week for this upcoming week. Tyler, as always, you can go first because I'm a good person and gracious host.
I mean, I think the reason you want me to go first is because I'm taking the obvious one.
Yes.
It's for game of the week. It's Bills Chiefs. I mean, we saw what happened last year. We see what happens, every time we get to see Allen and Mahomes square off. These are the 1 and 2, I'm willing to say it, as far as quarterbacks in the league right now. And we saw it last year, the shootout that ended with, the 13-second drive to get them in field goal range to send it to overtime, and then the Chiefs winning it. Every time these teams play, it's fun. Two extremely high-powered offenses. The Bills' defense is starting to get healthy, so we'll see how that goes. But the Chiefs' defense hasn't looked so bad themselves. So it's just, every time it's a fun matchup. And this is the two premier teams in the AFC, which we expect to be the best conference. So, what other two teams could you ask for?
This is the battle for OBJ in my mind.
You think OBJ to the Chiefs is possible?
Yeah, I think the winner of this game gets OBJ.
I thought the winner of week 1 was going to get him, but apparently he's decided to wait it out. So
yeah,
we'll see.
I don't think he's going back to the Rams. They offered him a min contract, and he's not messing with that. Yeah, he tweeted that out yesterday. OBJ is my favorite player. And he's great on Twitter. He's good entertainment. He's gonna be a Giant again one day. I don't want him to be one this year, although it would be awesome. I want him to be one when we're actually gonna win something. So, I want him to have success here. But Landon Collins is back, and I'm happy. And speaking of the New York Football Giants, my game of the week is Giants Ravens, because I feel like there might be a little bit of a turn up on the gas on the stove for that, the hot seat for good old Harbaugh if they lose to the Giants this week. I know the Giants are actually like decent. We're not a good team, but we're coached well, and I think Brian Daboll is going to get people fired. Him and Joe Shane are going to get head coaches and GMs fired. What they're doing right now with a subpar roster, a very mediocre quarterback who's playing much better than he has been with past regimes because of certain protections and the way we're running the ball. Only less than half of his snaps, passing snaps, have been just straight up with no play action, bootleg, like nothing, no motions, no extra running back. So, like no extra blocker, not running back, excuse me. Daniel Jones is playing a lot better, and Daniel Jones becoming a semi-competent quarterback, even if he's not getting a lot of passing touchdowns, I don't think it matters. As long as you're winning games, your quarterback isn't turning the ball over, your quarterback's playing well.
Exactly, yeah. Wins aren't a QB stat, but they contribute to win. Like, quarterbacks definitely contribute to your winning, and if you're a 4-1 football team, you're not going to say that the quarterback's playing bad, and it really doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, and Daniel Jones is taking care of the ball at a rate that he's never done before. He has 0.6 turnovers per game, the best of his career and the third best in the NFL this year. So Daboll being able to do this, have fun, and get an entire city that hasn't been happy about football in a very long time energized, is going to get other coaches in trouble when they have better rosters, like a Nathaniel Hackett.
For
like,
sure.
I think Hackett could get fired because of Brian Daboll.
I think the biggest part of this is the fact that right now we are seeing in the NFL a mass disparity in how coaching and roster is affecting team winning, just kind of how we're seeing it with quarterbacks as well. That quarterbacks we never expected to be, playing as well as they are, playing as poorly as they are, i.e. Geno Smith and Russell Wilson, pretty much swapping where we thought they might be. I think we're kind of seeing the same thing with coaches. A lot of coaches that looked like they were doing their job at a really high level are now having some issues. Like we've seen it with Mike Tomlin. We knew that roster wasn't very good, but he's been struggling. We've seen it with Harbaugh, who's been struggling. How much of that is on Greg Roman, we don't know. I mean, we have a feeling, but we don't 100% know. There's just a lot of coaches who aren't performing up to standards, and then a lot of other coaches like Daboll who are rising to go fill that void. So they could definitely get some coaches fired, especially guys who have better rosters and aren't performing.
Yeah, I don't think Tomlin will ever get fired from that job unless they go
shouldn't.
0-17 3 times in a row.
Yeah, they would have to be awful, and he doesn't deserve to get fired anytime soon. But I'm saying that he's being outperformed right now by Brian Daboll with what I would call a worse roster.
I would say it's a worse roster. Like, we probably have them in what? Running back, quarterback,
offensive line,
and that's about it.
Yeah. And they should, and they have you in receivers. They've got you on pretty much defense overall. So tight ends. Tight ends for sure.
Although my boy Bellinger is not playing horribly.
Yeah, he's playing well.
But yeah, I think Brian Daboll is going to be a problem for the NFL, just like the way Mike McDaniel is. But Mike McDaniel has a good roster.
Mike McDaniel has a good roster. The only problem is right now
health.
It's extremely hurt. But if he goes in there with the skeleton crew and goes in and beats Minnesota, this Minnesota team will be called fraudulent for the 6th year in a row. So,
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. Any team with Kirk Cousins is always fraudulent.
No, they definitely are, and they haven't really beaten anybody since the Packers week 1, who we've seen have already lost to the Giants and have struggled. Right. So. But
okay, I think we are going to move on here. There's not many good games this week. It's really just those two in my mind.
Definitely.
If Tua was healthy, then I think that game would be good. He's not. And I think they're going to hold him out. Even if he was healthy, they would have held him out this week anyways for optics. But we're going to move on now past our week preview and into the hot take zone. We kind of already went over one of them, which was Brian Daboll is going to get people fired. We're going to go to our second one, which is from our guy David. Shout out David. He's always dropping great hot takes in the chat. You can too. Join our chalkboard. Link is in my Instagram and Twitter bio. I believe it's in Tyler's TikTok bio. I'm not sure anywhere else. And it is always in the description of this video if you're watching on YouTube, and if not, you should go subscribe to our YouTube. But that being said, David says the Cowboys should promote Dan Quinn to head coach next year and let go of McCarthy. He's the reason they are 4-1, not Cooper Rush and not Mike McCarthy. I don't disagree. I think Dan Quinn is a head coach.
Oh, yeah. No, Dan Quinn is 100% a head coach. We see he gets interviews every single year. The only thing is, how bad has Mike McCarthy been this year with the time management and stuff like that? Because I know that's one of his problems is some of the head coach stuff. But is it worth letting go of a guy if he's consistently winning? I know it's not as much him, but is it worth getting rid of it and trying to shake it up?
I think it's more of would you rather lose Dan Quinn or keep Mike McCarthy? And I think you would rather lose Mike McCarthy.
I think, I think if it was in a situation where Dan Quinn's going to get hired and he's promoting me or I'm leaving, then I would definitely keep Dan Quinn. But I'm saying if we're in a position where nothing is happening, I would just keep McCarthy and keep him underneath him.
Well, yeah, if Dan Quinn doesn't get a job, but Dan Quinn is going to get a job.
Eventually, yeah, he definitely will.
I think that year is going to be this year if they continue to win. How do we serious question. What's going to happen when Dak comes back? Obviously, he's going to be the quarterback, but if they start losing games, what happens?
I mean, I'll tell you
Like,
one thing. It should definitely not be Cooper Rush. I understand the optics look good because he's like, 5-0 as a starter now in his career,
yes.
4-0 this season. But like, this isn't a guy who is like, you can look at the offense's metric, like literally just basic like yards and points. They're worse in every statistical category than they like pretty much have ever been when Dak's been on the field. So, and I understand they struggled week 1 against the Bucks, even with Dak on the field, but that's really not as much him as it is what's around him. But this is still a very good team either way. I don't think you start Cooper Rush just because he's winning games against teams that, mainly they were expected to beat.
Yeah, but do you move on? Like, Dak has gotten injured the past 2 seasons. And if
you mean long term? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. They're in a really weird spot because I really like Dak, but now it's getting to the point where he's like getting to the
he's a liability.
He's the injury prone label can now officially be put on Dak, and I don't know if you want to be paying a guy that's injury prone $40+ million. So, I mean, I guess you could roll with Cooper Rush, but you're kind of in a position where if you're not going out and getting a Lamar, is there a point in upgrading? Like, that's the only guy you could realistically upgrade.
There's also the Tony Romo thing, where what if they do to Dak what they did to Tony Romo with Dak?
Just draft somebody underneath him and then...
Yeah, and as soon as he gets hurt, that guy takes over.
Yeah, but the question is, how good is that guy going to be? And then you're still paying Dak $40 million. Like, you got lucky with Dak because he was a 4th-round pick that hit. Are they going to go out and use a 1st-round pick on a rookie quarterback when this team is, like, clearly capable of winning, like, playoff games now? Like, they can go win games in the NFC. The NFC is not strong to the point where they're going to go and probably not make the playoffs. They probably will make the playoffs and probably win a game or 2.
Yeah, it's a weird situation because if Dak comes back, loses like 3 straight, let's just say there's going to be talk.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, there's talk right now. I mean, Jerry Jones was like, I'm not like completely closed-minded on a quarterback competition, which is crazy to say when you're paying one quarterback $40 million and the other one a minimum deal.
Bag of peanuts.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think Jerry Jones just wants whatever is going to get them the most headlines at this point, which is crazy to think about because he's always talking about just winning football games. But we all know that's not the only thing that's driving him. So.
All right. And then our only other hot take is that Daniel Jones could be a top 10 quarterback if he had a top 10 wide receiver on his team. Maybe DJ Moore would turn him into a top 12 to 15 quarterback. Being a top 10 quarterback is very difficult. I am a Giants fan, but those top 10 don't move very much. I understand there's some questions right now with like Russ and stuff. So there's going to be a little bit of movement, but like Jalen Hurts and Tua are probably going to just take those spots. I think
that the top 10 moves more than you think it does. I mean, not the top like 8 or so, but the bottom of the top 10. And like,
I think 10
like,
through
I would
12
say
a lot.
Numbers 9 through 12. I've talked about this. I think even before on this podcast, it's like hitting the lottery. If you get good supporting cast, like we've seen Ryan Tannehill be a top 10 quarterback. We've seen, the Kirk Cousins of the world, the Daks of the world. We've seen, Joe Burrow is not playing like a top 10 quarterback of this year, but he was a top 10 quarterback last year or somewhere in that range. So, I mean, the list of guys moves in and out repetitively. It's the top 8 that really stays stagnant, top 6 to 8. And this year it's really only been about 6 or 7. So I don't think it's unreasonable to say that if you get him like a very good supporting cast, he can be top 10 because that's the case with, a majority of starting caliber quarterbacks in this league. And if Daniel Jones is one, he could have a season where he finishes that way. Do I think only DJ Moore would make him top 12 to 15? No, but it's definitely
DJ
possible
Moore,
he could finish there.
But DJ Moore, Kadarius Toney, and Wandale coming back, then you have a discussion.
You have a discussion. I mean, you have a discussion right now that he's playing like a top like 20 guy in the league. So I mean, like, who's to say he can't move up 5 more spots?
Playing top 20 right now? I think he's playing top 20.
That's what I'm saying. He's playing top 20 right now, and you're telling me he can't go move up like 5 more spots from, if they went out and got DJ Moore.
No, I think he could be top 15. I don't know about 9 or 10. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think he's at that level. I just don't think he can get there yet, and they don't have the supreme talent that could get him there. I mean, Saquon's playing out of his mind, but DJ Moore isn't enough. You need somebody who's like a top 10 to 12 wide receiver at least in order to get him to that category.
Yeah, and honestly, who's to say that DJ can't do that if he has a good quarterback? And Daniel Jones' best weapon is his legs and his accuracy, and when he's protected and able to actually make throws, he's extremely accurate. But when he's under pressure, he doesn't make those throws, and that's when he gets himself in trouble. But like if you look at this week, when he was protected, he was dotting up that Packers secondary.
Oh yeah, for sure. And he's playing at a level this year that, to be fair, I didn't think he could play at, and he's doing really well. And I think definitely if DJ Moore helps him get to that point, then why not go out and go after him?
So we kind of had this discussion with Dak. Like, what do you do with DJ now? Like, you're the last seed to make the playoffs with DJ. What are you doing next year? Because you have to pay him.
They didn't pick up the 5th, I'm assuming.
No.
So you have to pay him next offseason? I probably don't, just because that's a guy who's like, you're at the point where do you have any like extra draft capital?
Mm-mm. We have our base draft capital.
They're in a weird position then.
Yeah.
I was going to say go try to trade up for some guy, which you could still do, but you don't want to deplete the assets by that much. I would probably see if he'll take a lower deal. If he doesn't.
Yeah, I think he'd take a 1 year.
If he takes a 1 year, even if it's like an inflated 1 year deal, this team is still like a couple of years away from being like a genuine contender.
We do have $63 million in cap space.
Oh yeah. If he's willing to take a 1 year deal and then you can go draft somebody in like the back end of the first, if that's where you are, middle, the back end of the first that you like, then sure. But I wouldn't force it if you can go get him for 1 more year.
Or just wait till next year and draft my boy Jackson Dart. There you go.
There's a bunch of different quarterbacks that you could go after. So, especially in 2024.
It is a weird situation, though.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And 2023 is a lot of people are like, 2023 is the class. This is like the next big class. And then now we're watching all these guys and we're like, I'm not sure how much of a top end class this is. There's a lot of those like mid to late first round type guys that like teams might take in that area. But that also usually means that none of them are worth it. And most of them are like 3rd round or later picks. So you've got like the top 2 in Young and Stroud, but who else is really the guy you're willing
the
to
way
take
we thought they were going to be?
Oh, for sure. Nobody. That's the thing. It's just nobody. Every year, there's a bunch of guys who don't meet expectations. The problem with this year is that the expectations were so high and like none of them are meeting them.
Yeah. Hendon Hooker is. But I don't I don't know how I feel about Hendon Hooker.
Yeah, me neither. When I watched him, I wasn't like super huge on him anyway, but
they're playing a bunch of teams with really bad secondaries. They play Alabama this week, who's going to have probably 4 guys in the secondary drafted this year, if they all declare.
So, that's a test. That's definitely a big test.
That defensive line is also a real test. So
for sure.
We'll see. With that, we'll see how he does Saturday. But other than Hooker, nobody's playing to the level that you thought they would or above. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and Hooker has the opportunity right now to take that if he goes out and shows out against Bama, he could take that 3. I'm just saying he could take that Joe Burrow leap. Not to number 1, but just a leap from a guy who we were looking at as maybe, not even close to a first round guy to a guy that now you're going to look at as the 3rd best quarterback in the class. Yeah. And when it comes to draft classes that aren't last year's, 3 quarterbacks being drafted in the first round is not out of the question ever.
Especially this year because so many teams passed on a quarterback last year.
They all passed on a quarterback last year to go get that one this year. And then they've realized that this year's class is not where they thought it would be. So now a lot of these contending teams that were potentially going to go draft the quarterback and let them sit now kind of have the Lamar or bust mentality, I'm going to guess, come this offseason.
Yes. All right, I think that's all for the football stuff. Now we're gonna have a little bit of fun. All right, we're gonna switch it up a little bit. The idea of this podcast was like community interaction, but we also wanted a podcast where we could just talk about whatever. So we're gonna be doing a fast food draft. We did a quarterback one, and our number 2 overall pick ended up, having a rough night that night. Um, so we didn't really talk about it very much other than on the podcast. But this one, we're gonna have a little bit of fun with, and I don't think anything bad is gonna happen to an entire fast food chain, because of us. So, Tyler, without further ado, you have the first pick in the fast food draft. No Chipotle stuff like that. No like quick service stuff. Actual fast food restaurants.
All right. I don't know if this is a shocker, but fast food draft, number 1 pick, Chick-fil-A.
That's not a bad pick. I don't hate it. I wouldn't have gone 1 with it. I feel like my pick is the clear and obvious number 1, which is McDonald's. I feel like it is the fast food restaurant of the world. And it's open 7 days a week. So
That was going to be my 2. I had a weird feeling it would fall. It didn't. And now I'm reeling because I need to think. I think I'm going to go with another big chain. I think I'm going Taco Bell, number 2.
okay, you're getting a little bit of that's pretty unique, I would say. Like it's different than most fast food places. I wouldn't have gone 2 with it. I probably wouldn't have taken it in the top 4. But I respect it as a pick. You went chicken last time. I'm gonna go chicken this time. I'm going with KFC.
All right. Okay. KFC. To be honest, I didn't even think of it, but now I need to think of what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go with I think I'm going Five Guys. It's shocking, but I think I'm going Five Guys.
No, I don't hate that. You get your burger in because you didn't have a burger joint.
I didn't.
So I respect that. And then this is pick 3, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think I'm gonna kind of throw this entire competition on its head, right here with this one. I don't know how you're gonna feel about this, but I'm going Panda Express.
That's a good pick. That's a really good pick. I actually are we not counting that in the same like quick service thing? Because it is fast food, but it's also like quick service.
Yeah.
I'll let you have it. I think it's a great pick, to be honest. I wasn't going to take it like in this, but also like I think it's a good pick.
Okay.
As for me, the fact that it fell this far and we're including it, I didn't think it would get to this point. And I'm kind of like rounding out my whole food group thing I got going on. I'm taking Dunkin' Donuts.
Damn it, that's my next pick. I was thinking about doing Dunkin' in the Panda spot. I'm a Northeast guy, so Dunkin' is in my blood. So I that's a good pick. Damn. All right. I'm kind of reeling now. This is I'm gonna make a mistake here, aren't I? Okay. Oh, this is such a risky pick. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna wait on it. I feel like I need a sub shop, but Wawa's not fast food. It's a gas station. And I don't know if I count like Subway and that type of stuff, but there's nowhere else, I guess, that would be a sandwich shop that's fast food.
Were we not counting? Are we not
quick
counting
service
spots like Jersey Mike's or something? Would you not?
Isn't that quick service?
I think they like. I don't know. I've only ever gotten Jersey Mike's delivered, so I don't know what we would call it.
I think it's quick service. All right. I'm gonna.
If you want to take it, you can take it.
Nah, I think this is kind of a shot in the dark here. Shoot. I'm gonna go Whataburger.
No, are you kidding? I was gonna take Whataburger 5.
I felt like I had to because, it's not a thing I've ever had.
I've had
But
Whataburger multiple times. I was gonna take it 5 because that is one of the better fast food burgers I've had. The Whataburger patty melt is it's unstoppable.
I've heard good things, and I know it's really big in like Texas and stuff, and I feel like I have to capitalize on that a bit.
It's also got some, like I said, some like, northern Florida area spots. There's like 3 on this street next to me alone.
Oh,
So
sweet.
yeah, I've had it multiple times since getting here. But now I need to think, because that was kind of my set 5. And I'm kind of reeling, but I think I know. I think I'm going to take, I don't think anyone's taking this yet. 5th pick. I think I'm taking Wendy's.
Okay. I'm not mad at that at all. It's a good pick. I feel like it doesn't do anything special though.
Oh yeah, no, I just need something like well-rounded. Like you got McDonald's. I kind of needed something that I could hang my hat on as like this does like everything at like a somewhat high level. And there was no chance I was taking Burger King.
All right, so I have the last pick. What do I go with here? Oh my god. I'm trying to think. There's nothing else that's like Taco Bell that I could use. There's no real fast food pizza place other than like Quiznos, but I'm not taking Quiznos.
I think Papa John's is somewhat fast food, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
come on, Papa John's. Like, are we doing that?
It's the best fast food pizza place if you're counting it as fast food pizza.
Oh, there's like Del Taco. I've never had
it, and I'm not taking it 5. I wouldn't take it 5. I think there's some really good stuff left.
I know, but I don't know what to go with. Oh, I think I have an idea here.
Okay.
I am gonna catch up in the breakfast game, and I'm gonna go Bojangles.
Okay. I've never actually had it, so I don't know.
Neither have I. However, I know their breakfast is amazing. So, that being said, I think it doesn't fully make up for the Dunkin' thing, but it does more than Dunkin' does. You kind of have a specialist in that role.
If you add up McDonald's breakfast and Bojangles breakfast, you probably have a good breakfast combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm pretty good there. You know what I'm saying?
For sure. I just think that if you're going for like a more like on the go type of breakfast, you're taking Dunkin', of course.
Yeah, obviously. I'm taking Dunkin'.
And I've got coffee as well, like good coffee.
Yeah.
So
that's why I said I had to kind of make up for it, and I wasn't gonna go Krispy Kreme because they don't do like good breakfast foods.
It's just donuts. Yeah,
it's donuts and coffee. So, I feel like that one was so much better than the quarterback one.
That one was. I think this one's actually pretty close. Like I think it's up to like how you view.
Yeah, last time I literally blew you out of the water,
and then it got even worse.
Yeah, and then your number 2 pick got a concussion.
Yeah, so maybe the drafts can't be football based. Maybe I'm at least here. I'm not letting my heart get in the way.
Yeah.
So
I think this is a good type of draft for us to do. If you guys want to see more of us, send us suggestions. This is definitely going on TikTok.
For sure.
We have one planned for a few weeks from now. And then I'm sure we have.
But until then, we are totally down to draft just about whatever you want because
literally anything. Give us anything.
Yeah, it's the most fun segment probably. Yeah, and there's nothing like competing in ways that like unite. You don't know how you actually win. So, I mean, just send us anything to draft and we'll draft it.
And that's going to be all for us. Thank you guys for watching, listening, however you consume this, whether it's YouTube, Spotify, Apple. Leave a review, leave a comment, leave a like. Give us that 5-star rating because your boys need it. But thank y'all and join the chalkboard. Peace.